You know, the world could always use more heroes.
This series of guides is meant to provide tips for people who have played Team Fortress 2 and now have just started playing or are interested in Overwatch. If this is the first you're hearing of Overwatch, it is a class-based, objective-based 6-on-6 team shooter made by Blizzard, most known for Warcraft, Starcraft, and Hearthstone. I will not be covering full tutorials of how to play, but essentially, if you happen to see a few videos that involved a turret, a beam healer, and a rocket trooper and said, this basically looks like a clone of TF2, I will be explaining some major differences of Overwatch that may quite surprise you, and hopefully that you will really enjoy of the game. Overwatch isn't broadly different from Team Fortress. Rather, it has many small differences that make for a different experience. Here, we'll be going over a few of the specifics. Overwatch has attempted to unclutter a few aspects of multiplayer FPS design. You have unlimited reload ammunition. There is no fall damage, although many maps have bottomless pits to look out for. And, while there are many cosmetic unlockables like skins and gestures, none of them affect gameplay. All players play on an equal playing field. Overwatch doesn't intend to replicate the high skill barrier of Counter-Strike. However, while headshots were a special mechanic in Team Fortress 2, reserved for the sniper class, most weapons in Overwatch are capable of getting headshots. You shouldn't feel compelled to perfect your aim. At a distance, there's no harm in aiming anywhere on the enemy you can. But if an enemy happens to be pretty close and slow moving, keep their eye level in mind because even a small character like Mercy can deal significant damage with good aim. Overwatch has a dedicated button to smacking your opponents, unlike Team Fortress 2's pure melee weapons. This doesn't deal a whole lot of damage, but it can help finish an enemy off, especially if you run out of ammo at a bad moment. Each character in Overwatch has distinct footsteps, and the louder tank characters can often be heard through walls. The Learn Overwatch channel has done a video dedicated to showcasing this in a quiet environment. A few characters and abilities in Overwatch grant shields and armor. Both represent extended portions of your health bar and drain in the order of shield, armor, then health. Shields take just as much damage, but regenerate over time after exiting a fight. Armor reduces damage from each individual attack, making it highly resistant to rapid-fire attacks. All characters have a difficulty displayed in the selection screen when you click the eye underneath their name, from 1 to 3 stars, least difficult to most difficult. As with Team Fortress 2, it may make sense to go with a healing class to start out with. Mercy has 1 star, and translates most directly from anything you might have learned as a medic in Team Fortress 2. But I would recommend any 1-starred character to begin. Even if you don't have great aim, a tank like Reinhardt can support the team very well. You can also press the F1 key at any time during play to see these reminders. Thankfully, with a few exceptions, most characters have just 1 weapon, so you're left with just the character's abilities to remember. Take note of abilities that have little to no recharge time, as you'll want to think of all the times you may want to make use of them. If you have not bought Overwatch but are interested in the character descriptions and summaries, they can be found at playoverwatch.com. If you're not comfortable with the pressures of online gaming, you can begin your Overwatch adventure playing with 5 humans against 6 bots. The enemy's AI is not so great, so you won't get a very dynamic or especially challenging game, but it can let you try out certain hero abilities in a safe spot. While many people have played as the Heavy in Team Fortress 2, it's important to know that the 5 tank characters in Overwatch are actually very different and hard to compare to any shooters I know. They're partially influenced by their role in MMORPGs, but fitted to a first-person shooter. Tanks are meant to be mostly blockers. Some stop damage from reaching teammates, others can soak up quite a lot. They only deal effective damage in close range. Several of them have attacks that don't even reach past a few meters. The reason tanks are useful is that opponents can't easily attack a group of players when a tank is among them, because they don't want to get close to the tank. Their abilities are focused on bringing a fight to close range. Don't expect tanks to be much like many classes you've played before. New players tend to find many deficiencies in them, but they take time to learn and skill to master. If you play Team Fortress 2, you might be very used to 12 versus 12 games with lots of players. Overwatch is 6 versus 6, which means you make up a much bigger part of your team. Team composition is especially important in Overwatch, and the character selection interface will give you tips about who to pick based on your situation. A general team layout is 4 attackers or defenders, 1 tank, and 1 support. Another consequence of small team size is that it's much easier to end up on your own. If you ever happen to notice that you're entering an objective area with most of your team dead, visible with these skulls on screen, you may actually want to consider waiting in place for respawning teammates to catch up to you. You'll especially want to take notice of this because Team Fortress 2 uses respawn waves, ensuring that several players respawn at the same time, but Overwatch has you instantly respawn the moment you finish watching your kill cam, meaning that there will be little synchronicity to your spawning. The coolest part of playing each character in Overwatch is their ultimate ability. Their charge level is displayed in the center of the screen and must reach 100% before it can be used. Your ultimate meter charges from dealing damage or healing a damage dealer. Something important to know about ultimates is that they are almost never an instant win. Many characters still take just as much damage while activating their ultimate, and some are especially vulnerable when doing so. Don't feel discouraged if you only get 1 elimination or so when using an ultimate, or even if they end up being wasted while you're still learning them. But knowing the best situation to use an ultimate ability can make them especially devastating. Also, teach yourself not to panic into using an ultimate the way you might use an Ubercharge. Unlike the Ubercharge, its charge percentage can be preserved between lives. Also, be warned that when switching character, while often a good idea, will reset your ultimate percent to 0. That's it for this video, but this series will attempt to take a look at each class in Team Fortress 2, which heroes closely match their playstyle in Overwatch, and how their playstyle drastically changes. Please leave feedback on the format and any questions you may have in the comments.
What's the stratagem?